Hello, everybody. This is Luz Aguirrebeña with Laura Cross in our weekly now, Luz and Laura's Happy Hour.
Right.
It really is becoming kind of like a nice thing to do on Saturday, 2:30 in the afternoon, even though we are a little late now.
Yeah.
So, Laura, it's so
Technical
good to be
difficulties.
here. Happy New Year again.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Still, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's been quite a week for me. So, um,
Yeah.
and for both of us actually, and some of our friends too.
Everybody's like living, I keep
Everybody.
saying it.
Everybody's like,
It's so funny because, I keep saying it. I was talking, with Susan Fishking the other day. It's like, I keep saying, they call me or we're talking and they say, how are you doing? Oh my God, this thing of living in the eye of the hurricane, ah,
yeah.
you know. And the other day I talked to Susan and she says, oh my God, the hurricane is getting really tight.
Right.
I
Exactly.
think it's happening for everybody.
Oh, it
You know
is.
what happens? You know why? The part that is fascinating here is the same part about the 5 minutes of death, before death. It's in the macro, it's the exact same thing. It's like, I always, when I hear somebody dying or transcending to the other side, I go, oh my God, did they have time 5 minutes before death? Hopefully. Okay. And it doesn't have to be even 5 minutes. It can be 1 second because it's the eternity of the moment, right?
Yes,
Because
it
you can
is.
literally run your entire life
In
in
a
one
moment.
minute or less,
Yes,
right?
or less than that.
So, but as
Yeah.
long as you have the 30 seconds, whatever it is, because it's what happens, I think, after experiencing life. The 5 minutes, what I call the 5 minutes before death, is the condensation of your entire electromagnetic frequency and vibration in the planet. So you're going to have everything at the same time. It's the eye of the hurricane.
It is.
If you think back, every process that you did before you jumped into that freedom of overcoming whatever you wanted to overcome, you had to kind of go through everything because it's kind of an accountability or kind of like a inventory, right? Inventory. Because we need to associate instead of dissociate. So those 5 minutes are crucial. And it's the same thing that I feel it's happening here to the world. So that's why it's so intense. It's so intense because it's everything. You go, oh, but I dealt with that. I already overcame that. It doesn't matter. It's part of the whole thing. They all had to come into one
You're right.
thing within you.
Absolutely right.
Make peace with each other,
Definitely
right?
make peace with each other. Yes, right.
So that's what it
And
is. Kind of
ourselves.
like,
That's why we need to do self hugs, don't we? Don't we need to do self hugs?
yes,
Everybody do a self
yes,
hug, right? Right.
yes,
And don't be the
absolutely.
first one to let
And
go.
Laura, I was thinking, yeah, I was thinking, that I wanted to start this conversation today with looking back to the 60s because, we're doing a reevaluation with the 7 pillars of thought. We're doing a reevaluation. And of course, the root thoughts, are either fear or love. Those are the root thoughts. And from them, then, you have to figure out. So, in the 50s, we literally created this slogan, which was very, very in the collective consciousness, which was love, not war.
Right. Right?
Love,
war.
no war.
Yeah. Yeah.
That collective concept was literally intercepted in the interception, intersected in the intersection, and given a different venue, which we know it is more towards the idea of the root of fear. But that big kind of like seeding of the 60s of that simple phrase, love, no war, it was very clear because it's either the root thought of love or the root thought of war. Then they convinced us that, you know, that war and love went together.
Are the same. Yeah.
Right? And then not only convinced us in the macro to justify it, but also inside us. So we've been talking about love lately, and about the fact that so many times people, what we are doing really is using love. What is it, the word? You know, I had this phrase that came to me today, which is, and it came from Love Not War, right?
Right.
But the same way that we went backwards into, you know, doing war for God to defend our God, which is the ultimate bizarre thought in the universe, then, you know, then the same way in the micro, inside ourselves, we started connecting. So it's like we do so much, think, you know, and so many things. We do basically so many things in the name of love that are fear. And it had nothing to do, you know, that are war, that, you know, that have nothing to do with love.
Yeah.
And we call it love. We have the audacity to call it love.
Well, it, you know, okay, so it's in the name of love, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the deal. It's in the name of love. In the name of love, we go to war.
Yeah.
And then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
so in the name of love, we interfere.
So our virus of the mind is accepting that. So the virus of the mind is us accepting that current paradigm, which is right, which means that it's okay because we love our country and we're going to go and kill everyone else.
Yeah, in the name of love. Yeah.
Yes, in the name of love. Yes.
We kill in the name of love, and at the same time, that's what I was going to say before. Is that in the same way we're interfering with our loved ones' free will in the name of love, or in the name of protection, or it's because I love you so much that I need you attached to my waist.
Well, and, you know, the deal is that it gets twisted and becomes possession more than love, right? I mean, you know, when you think about, you know, I mean, I always hear the abusers say, "But I love her so much. I love her so much." Well, you know, how is that love? You know, that's not love.
Yeah.
You know, what's your idea of love? If you think it's you know, keeping someone locked up inside somewhere, you know, I mean, just like we keep our prisoners locked up for some really stupid stuff, you know, like marijuana, you know, I mean, is that loving? You know, are we doing society a favor and being loving to society? No. Are we being kind?
Yeah.
No. Right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, really, if we really think about it, love is none of the things that we are told through time. You know, it's almost a way.
Well, it has nothing to do with attachment.
You know?
If you're going to respect free will, it's nothing to do with attachment.
Exactly.
If anything, love is detachment. Sorry.
Well, and that's the deal. You know, I mean, once I had a hard time grasping all of this when we first started discussing this, because you know, I think that a lot of times we get addicted and we think it's love. You know, I mean, I really love that guy, you know, but the deal is that it's what it really is an addiction and not a love at all. Because, like you say, you know, once you step on someone else's free will, it turns from love to something else.
Codependency.
Codependency. Exactly.
Okay, let me say one thing here, which is really important. Who is the only person in the world that has the right to be the center of the universe? The 4-year-old. The 4-year-old, because, right? The 4-year-old has all the right in the world to go, I'm the center of the universe, because he's depending on adults to nourish him, guide him.
And he's cognitive enough at that stage. He's cognitive. They're cognitive enough at that stage to get a lot of things, right?
So the problem arises when the person at that age is not allowed to be the center of the universe.
Or
then you have an adult that wants to be the center of the universe at 50, 40, 30, any time.
Yeah.
This is, sorry, simple.
Okay.
Very simple.
So, all right.
Which
so
is the difference between, wait, let me finish.
All right.
Which is the difference between emotional intelligence and dissociated inner child. You know, it's the it's the emotionally intelligent inner child or the dissociated, emotionally dissociated inner child. Only because of lack of acknowledgement, by the way. Makes sense?
It does make sense. Okay, so I just want to throw something in here on this 4-year-old thing, okay? Because I do lots of deprogramming, right?
I love the 4-year-old so much. My granddaughter is 4 now. It's like,
So the deal is that under the MK Ultra program, they would take children and they would do a major traumatic event when they are 4 years old.
Well, you know why? Because literally your character is defined by 4.
That's right.
If they don't,
but we want to break the character. That's right. They want to break the character that has been formed up to that point. Okay. Now, some of the people that I've talked to who have shared information with me have alluded to the fact that some pretty traumatic things happened to them when they were 4. And I think this is important for society to realize that, you know, that there's pedophilia out there. There's lots of different things that are happening to our kids. There's, you know, there's Disney. Oh my gosh, Disney. We talked about this yesterday. Remember Disney and the idea that, you know, if you find the man of your dreams, you're going to live happily ever after, right? Okay, but how are you going to deal with this 4-year-old, right? The man of your dreams is this 4-year-old, or the woman of your dreams is this 4-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's pretty damaged stuff. And you know, we are kind of saying it's okay for that because we are not acknowledging that it is prevalent in our society and happening everywhere. So it's
okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go on, go on.
Okay, so the loving thing for us to do is to acknowledge that this behavior exists and do whatever we can to stop it, right? And to help those that have experienced it. Because there's a lot of wounded warriors walking around. A lot, okay? Now, that is part of the paradigm that is in you know, is happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, my loving thing is to listen and acknowledge these fellow human beings that are in pain. So I think in love we have many. It's such a complex frequency. It's so complex. And because I'm so into frequency, I realize that there's only been a very few times where I've actually felt what love was. And you mentioned earlier about, you know, that moment right before death, you know, and I've died twice, and I've had that moment twice, and that is the time when I felt the purest love, and that's where I live now, in that feeling, because I was reminded again what it was, because I had to be reminded to be able to share it with others.
Exactly.
And not in a way that is not going to judge them.
Yeah.
Or say, well, you did that, or separate them, or create competition. Just strictly, I love you no matter what you did. I love you no matter what. That's it.
Well, you know, allow the child to be the center of the universe when it's time, you know. So
yeah.
So there's two things I want to talk about here that are so important. One of my heroes of all times is a woman called Alice Miller. Many people know her. Yeah, I mean, she's a kind of a classic psychology, you know. She died in 2010, and she was literally the person who, she was, you know, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, you know, she was the, you know, she had all this, you know, she dedicated her entire life to this research of, you know, violence and the human nature. And she did a study of 30 years. We're talking 30 years, and this is so important to hear, because we've been convinced that violence is inherent in us, and that's a lie, a big fat lie.
It is a lie.
So she is the person who went through 30 years of study of serial killers, you know, and she came to the conclusion that violence is not genetic.
No.
Which is a huge. I mean, she confronted the establishment. We're talking, you know, Hitler, Jung, not even Jung. Jung is, you know, like Freud, Dostoevsky at the time, you know, and she has not been given enough credit because, of course, she was a woman, but of course she took this seriously, and she was saying exactly the opposite. She was saying that this is a seed planted, that, you know. So the question is, a
virus of the mind, a virus of the mind.
That was the virus of the mind. Thank you. Exactly. So So that's why I was so excited with her findings and her work, for years, and that's why I did the part about the inner child within that. So now, you know, this one thing, I'm going to tell you another story here. I don't think we have talked about this one. That to me explains, because obviously this virus of the mind is coming from other outside of our human nature, external to our entire entity. So, like the oyster, right? A foreign element. So the virus of the mind, to me, is best described to understand this thing of love and fear and how they have been convoluted, kind of mixed into one. But the Chinese talk about the virus. And they say that it's the story. Well, they don't talk about the virus. They don't use the word virus. We're using the word
virus, yeah.
But they say that that mindset is the mindset of the black snake.
Ooh.
Okay. The black snake motto is to kill you first so that you do not kill her. Now, think about that from the standpoint of survival. Okay? Okay. When you're killing another entity that crossed your path, because you couldn't even imagine that the least thing in the mind is to kill you. Imagine how much trust has been eradicated from their cellular, electromagnetic, spiritual body. So talking about the chakras, they are operating only from the 3 chakras. Right?
Oh, right. Yes.
So when a child, and this is fascinating, in all of this, in the Mormons, I have watched several, testimonials about that. It's fascinating because it's always the woman who kind of like, from their standpoint, they are loving their children because they are teaching them to protect themselves, because otherwise they will be killed.
That's right.
Think it from that standpoint. Whew. You see?
That's right. I do.
It's totally amazing. And you've lived it, right?
Well, and the deal is, too, that we talked about fear, in conjunction with love. And, we are working on the 7 pillars, which, they're extremely powerful. And, the 7 pillars are truth, acknowledgement, fear, errors, judgment, clarity, and self-responsibility. Okay, so the thing about it is that those things line up with our chakras in a way that is quite amazing. And once I started to go through my own, go back to my 4-year-old and say, what the heck, right? I went back to my 4-year-old and I took a hold of her and I said,
I'm going to make myself the center of the universe. I'm going to make myself the center of my universe.
Of my universe, that's right. And I'm gonna nurture that little girl, because I know that she was not nurtured. Okay.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit of nurturing in there, but
yeah, of course, you couldn't have survived. It's a
that's
80-20,
true.
darling.
There was, yeah, that's right. There was some,
80-20, darling.
that's right. There was some nurturing in there.
The carrot, it's always there.
That's right. So, so the deal is that if you go to truth, you are on the very top of your head, which is your cranium, okay? And if you go to acknowledgement, it is your third eye, which means that you see everything clearly. You see it. You see it. Oh, wow, I see it. Okay. Then you go to fear. Where is fear? It's in your throat. How many illnesses do we have in the throat? How many overweight people do we have doctors telling them it's your thyroid? No, it's fear. It is fear that has got you by the throat, okay? And you cannot love if you are in fear. Someone said to me the other day, I said, I have no fear, absolutely none, okay? My thyroid is working and I'm losing weight, okay? I have no fear, right? He says, no, you have to have fear. I said, no. Sometimes I have apprehension, but I never have any fear, right? So my throat is cured. My throat is cured. All right. Now the next one is errors. Okay. Now, if you think about errors, you have to embrace the errors that you've done yourself and the errors that you've done against someone else.
Wait. Let me insert something here. 1 second.
Okay.
Life, knowledge really is through, becomes part of you through trial and error. So that's part of how we learn anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
so if an error is treated as a sin, then we're in trouble, because we can't continue.
Okay, and so and that also matches up with heart.
Yeah.
Which is your heart energy. Okay. Now that word has a frequency, and so does your heart have a frequency, and all of the things that she just said about how that's how we learn, is through trial and error. Okay. Now but then people commit errors against us too. Okay. Okay, and so then we go down a little further, which is to our kind of our center, right? And what lies there at our stomach area, which is judgment. Okay.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right. Okay. So if you're having judgment against others, or you're having a view about separation and us against them kind of an idea of living your life, then I think you're going to be walking through life with stomach problems, because that's where that lies. Right?
I can't believe that thing came like that, man. It's so amazing.
Okay, so
every time yeah. Okay, go on.
Okay. So do you see? I hope everyone is getting this story and this line here, because once you start to follow these things and start to work on them with your 4-year-old, okay, because you got to go back that far at least, if not even further.
Yeah.
It becomes perfectly clear that this makes sense. It makes perfect sense for us as human beings, okay? Now, the next thing is the abdomen, which, for women is our childbearing, and for men it's kind of their solar plexus, and where they have a lot of strength, and, and they also have their the workings of their innards there, as far as their sexual organs. Now, the word for there is clarity. Now,
like truth from here.
Clarity, which I don't see a lot of clarity now in that area for people. And lots of people are having issues with having babies, and with just in general. A lot of the women that I know are having problems in that area, because we're not clear about a lot of stuff. In order to get clear, we have to kind of go through these other steps that are kind of above,
Yeah.
When you get to the last thing, which is our sacrum, which is actually our portal to sharing souls. That's like what I want to call it.
Right, it's kind of the grounding part, right? Once you go through everything, now you're connecting the communication between the black holes in the universe and the black holes in your DNA.
DNA, yes, absolutely.
Because
so
the idea is that we really need to get back to the core of the galaxy where everything started, and
absolutely,
that's part of it too.
And the word that goes with that is self-responsibility. Okay, I mean, think about how powerful that is. Self-responsibility at the start of your universe, and the start of many other universes if you're making babies, right? I mean, think about that. And when I bring that up, a lot of people are like, oh my, oh wow. They're like, that'll never happen. Right?
Well,
they're saying that about themselves, right? They're saying that about themselves, right? I don't say that.
Wow.
I have been.
The thing is that the self-responsibility thing. It's what helps us understand that we are co-creators.
Yes,
in the universe, and we're manifesting our reality, and we can expand from there. But the thing is that it's very difficult to tell. Yeah.
Every second.
Yeah. So it's difficult to tell people, for people to understand what does it mean to be self-responsible, right?
Exactly. And the funny thing
the idea was like, let me finish.
All right.
This part, because when I was creating and we've talked about this before, when I was guided, to create the 7 pillars, and I'm going how I'm going to title this, or what are the headlines, or what are the and one is the revaluation of 7 important universal principles. But then the other one that came out is 7 steps to self-responsibility in a very organic way, without telling you, oh, you have to be self-responsible. Yeah, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Go listen to those recordings in that sequence, and you'll figure it out by yourself.
It's so powerful, and it makes so much sense. Okay, everyone I talk to says it makes sense, but they only want to hear so much, and then they walk away, which is cool.
Yeah, because they need to digest it.
They need to digest it. It's heavy stuff.
Too much.
Too much. It's like, what? Wait a minute. Errors? Oh my God. That might be why I'm having heart palpitations, right? Oh, judgment. Oh, I'm having all these stomach issues. And then that's the deal. People are telling me, oh, I'm having these problems. And I'm going, oh, well, then maybe it's your judgment problem. Not a stomach problem at all.
You're the best partner. I mean, oh my God, thank you so much, because it's like so great.
Yeah, we're connected, ladies. That's it. We're connected. It's like you're this flowing portal of amazing revelation to me, and I just go, let's run. And I take that and run with it, right? Where can I go with it? We have to co-create here. That's the deal, We stopped co-creating. I keep saying co-create, and people are like, what does that mean? Right? They say, I'm like, let me explain. The funny thing is that words are energy and frequency. So when I use these words and these things, people don't understand. It does not, that's why they're asking me. They're like, what does that mean? And then it opens the door to let them know about all this stuff, but they only want it open so far. Wait a minute, I'll just peek at it for today. Come back tomorrow and give me more when I look through my crack in the door, right?
Exactly. Wow.
Like you say, we manifest our universe, and my universe is looking pretty good. All right?
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even with everything that's going on, my universe, my personal universe, is looking very good. And people say to me all the time, "How come you have all this stuff happening in your life and you're never like upset or unhappy?" And I'm like, "Well, does it help if I'm unhappy? Then they win.
Exactly.
This way I win." And eventually the answer comes that way. Because I'm not in unhappiness or fear or doubt or anger, sadness or sorrow. I'm in solution. I'm just in solution. I'm like, okay, well, let's make this something funny later.
Yeah.
Let's make this a funny story later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, this stuff works. It really does. I'm urging everyone, as soon as we get those released, to go and get the recordings
we're going to,
of the 7 pillars. It's it's life-changing, and it's simple. It's simple, okay?
It's simple and straight to the point, yeah.
It is. And the deal is that once you make the connection, you go, oh, okay, so I could make a few different choices and have this happen in my life because now I'm being mindful.
Right.
Because this makes you mindful of not just...
It also releases a lot of tension because...
Oh, it does, yeah, absolutely.
Because you let go, right, of control, and then you trust, kind of thing, in a different way.
Well, and the funny thing is, what's really happened for me is that I know when I'm being lied to now. I know when I'm being, when somebody's trying to judge me. I know all of these things, and when I feel those things coming at me, I used to put up a guard, but now I just embrace them with love, and I give them information, right?
Yeah.
And then they realize that I just accepted them into my club. I just accepted them into my club because everybody's committed crimes, everyone. And like you say, you don't want. I'm not forgiving now. I'm just like I'm acknowledging. Okay, we've all committed crimes.
Besides,
I have no right to judge. I have no right to judge anything.
There's no good and bad. It's only knowledge and experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the other thing. It's like you perceive the experience. That's another conversation. But that thing of Einstein, to me, is one of the most amazing things anybody has ever said to me. Knowledge is only experience. You didn't do the experience through the, it's not going to work.
Yes.
It's only experience.
It is only experience. And the thing about...
So there's no good or bad experiences?
Well, there are no good or bad experiences. That's the deal. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And so I mean, it makes perfect sense that, what someone else may think is bad or is tragic or whatever, somehow or other I managed to flip it around so that I've got some amazing energy out of it to push me forward. And those in my life, not just me, but other people.
You died twice to get back to that. That's how much tampered with you were, as a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had to die twice. Now, you can say, oh my God, yes, but it's huge. It's going back to it's really going back to, to the connection to divinity that was broken.
Absolutely.
And the thing
no doubt about it. It was a total reset, okay?
Yeah.
It was a total reset.
Yeah.
And even though I came back with all this information, just like everyone else, I was peeking through the door at it because I don't want to open it up. Just throw whatever it is you have through the crack, please, right? And let me take it into my lair and examine it, right? So now I've flung the door open. There's no door. There's no apartment. There's no nothing. There's just
There's
it's
no
just open.
box.
Just freedom. Just freedom. No boxes. No boxes. That's the deal. No boxes. Even though I still have memory blockages, there are no boxes.
Yeah.
Because you know, whatever boxes kind of pop up, I go, oh, let's open it. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
I know, and it really, you know, it's a different. It releases a lot of stress.
Absolutely. I don't have any stress,
You know.
and I'm not sick. I'm not sick. I'm getting younger. My blood pressure the other day was 100
Yeah.
over 68. Yesterday it was 100 over 68.
Yeah.
And my daughter, you know, and I'm having some strife in my life, and other people are having strife in my life, but my blood pressure is low, and I'm feeling great. So, I mean, you know, what do you say about that?
There you go. Inside out, like Sophia.
Yeah, inside out, just like Sophia. Inside
It's
out.
always inside out anyway. You know, it's like the idea of you know of it's always inside out. That's another.
Well, it is inside out.
Part.
So, you know, so I mean, there, you know, I had a lady yesterday in the plasma place ask me about, you know, losing the weight because I told her that I'd lost weight. And, you know, I had to tell her, you know, she's like, well, it's taken a while. You know, I told her when I started, and it's taken me like 4 years to really just start to get really healthy and figure out what it was. And, and I had not, I mean, I lost my fear when I died the second time completely. I mean, I still had a bit when I died the first time, but I lost my fear completely when I came back the second time. And
give me a second.
Okay.
Give me a second because I have. It might be. Let me see. 1 second.
Okay.
I might have somebody. Okay, I'm sorry. Almost here, so no problem. Okay, so you were talking about the fear?
Well, you know, the deal is that, you know, there's a lot of people that are struggling with being overweight, and people are really
about that conversation.
Yeah, and people are really judgmental about that. When I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, that mostly fear lies in the throat, like I said, and that if you're walking around in fear, your thyroid's not working properly. You're not getting the nutrients you need because it's not working properly, because it controls everything, and you tend to eat the things that are not good for you. And you know, I mean, if you're hungry all the time, what are you going to do but eat? You know,
I'm trying to get more control here.
And now this is a dis-ease. This is a dis-ease, okay? It's a dis-ease. And I mean, think about that. It's not disease, it's dis-ease. It's our bodies telling us that you have this something on your throat right now and you need to get rid of it, and you need to get rid of your fear, and go to the crux of where the fear happened. And I had somebody tell me, you know, when I had talked about having problems giving blood, you know, that, you know, she really wants to conquer her fears. And she told me, she says, well, I'm just doing it. I'm just blasting through it. I'm just blasting through it every time. And she said, every time I get a little less afraid. And I was like, awesome, right? I mean, that deal, yeah. So for her, she's not, you know, she's not overweight, but, you know, she's still living in fear. And lots of people are, and it shows on their body. It shows on their body because being overweight like that is a way to keep people away. It's also a way to punish yourself when you feel totally worthless. And
yeah, and sometimes it's only just some kind of defense mechanism, to separate yourself from, like a
from
shield.
everyone around you. Yeah, everyone around you. Because people don't want to be next to you. I am going to show my picture at some point, and you'll see that in a family photo, I was so large that I could not stand next to my family.
Wow.
Right? That's the
Wow.
deal. Right?
Mm.
Okay. And it's a very telling photo, okay? Because, here I
Yeah.
am set apart, okay?
Wow.
And, right? So, this is, and there for a while I was in the wrong mindset, but I was in the mindset that that the people that are walking around overweight can really make a difference in their lives and change that situation. But I realized too that I have been fighting that all my life, and that it wasn't about the food. It's not about doing exercise, constantly. It's actually about going inside and taking a hold of your 4-year-old and wrapping your arms around him or her and saying, you know what, I know some really screwed up stuff happened to you, but I'm here to deal with it with you. And I can do it better because now I'm grown. And once you start
Hallelujah.
to do that,
Acknowledgement.
acknowledgement. and I noticed too that my whole thing is changing now with how I talk to people when they ask me about my weight loss and how I got there,
Mm.
and I'm starting to ask them questions more, and then I'm letting them talk, and I'm hoping that they'll get to the pain and they'll tell me the pain because I know they are in pain, and that's my way of being loving. And it's universal.
Yeah.
And people ask me how I stay so happy. Well, you've been living in universal love and kindness, peace and joy and truth, acknowledgement with no fear, accepting errors and no judgment, seeing clearly, woo, oh yeah, and taking self-responsibility, okay? Because I take responsibility for every choice I make. That's why I'm really mindful when I make them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because I realize that decisions and choices that I make affect
Well,
others without
because
me even knowing.
made by they are made inspired by the emotionally intelligent. Uh, it's not emotional intelligent the word I'm trying to use. It's emotional integrity of the inner child.
Exactly.
It's the emotional integrity.
Well,
So
and
when it comes from
that is
that,
so
the decisions are
powerful.
going to be fabulous.
That is so powerful. That emotional integrity. Okay, so of a 4-year-old. Okay, so think about that. Are we? Is anyone living with the emotional integrity of a 4-year-old? I don't think so.
No, and that's why it's so bizarre when you see people acting like 4 when they are 50.
Yeah,
It's bizarre.
exactly. Yeah, running around, just like, what? Really, dude?
I want
Are you ever
attention.
gonna
I
grow
want
up?
attention.
I want attention. I want attention. And that's. I see a lot of that because I'm in the musical community. So there's a lot of those guys running around, and I can always
And
tell the
the
ones
other
that are
thing,
in ego, because that's what that's about. You're in ego. You're
yeah,
totally in ego, and that's it. You never got your 4-year-old stroked
yeah,
properly, and and you need to stroke your
yeah,
4-year-old and grow
and
up, right?
the attention. The other thing that I have concluded simply that love is attention. Again,
It
we
is.
have this disease that we created. This is which is attention deficit
This is,
disorder.
yes, yes.
Names it. Obviously, so all these kids that don't have attention, don't have time to play, that have been completely, taken out of any possible, you know, attention. It's attention. Love is attention. So if you didn't give it at 4, the consequences are going to be, what some people call emotional immaturity or emotional dissociation versus emotional integrity.
Right.
And what happens is that it happens to all of us to some extent because
we go to school.
Created a defense mechanism to deal with this stuff. But what happens is that, by the time you're maybe 20, starting your 30s, the things that worked before are not starting to work anymore. And that's when you kind of go, like you're saying, right? Now, that's when at some point you have to go, okay, the stuff that happened to you. I understand nobody acknowledged bad thing, I understand this, understand that. But the thing is that now we're going to work in a different way. I'm going to acknowledge you and I'm going to consider everything and we're going to work together. And we're going to be unstoppable in our soul purpose, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And okay, so I got to thinking about that, and I realized too that, now we put our kids in daycare because the moms have to work, and there's nobody to be home with them, or family member, to really give them that kind of love during that time, right? So I mean, the school system is really set up for that purpose, to disassociate us from our children.
They don't give them breaks.
No, they don't give them breaks. They don't let them be kids.
That's the worst part.
They make them sit there in front of at a desk and be lectured to when they need to be interacting and be busy and be creating, right? I mean, that's what we need, because the deal is that we have no co-creation going on because people have had it beat out of them. Because by the time they graduate from school, they no longer know how to create, and the ones that are really good at it, they give drugs and tell them there's something wrong with them, which is the ADD and the ADHD.
Let me give you the number. I have the number, okay?
Okay.
And it coincides perfectly. When you're born with your 100% of your right and your left brain developed.
Yes.
Connected to divinity.
Okay. Right, exactly.
By 7 years, you are. Hey, baby, come on, go scratch your back somewhere else, please. So, okay, by 7 years old, you have a 20% left of your right brain.
Right.
By 21, you have 8% if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
The creativity and the psychic abilities of the right brain.
Right.
Think about that. So between 7 and 21, okay, everything is wiped out.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
That's like, well, and that explains the reason that why some people don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then you look at them like, are you stupid? Well, no, they're not stupid. They're just not thinking with both halves of their brain because they've been robbed of it. They don't even know they've been robbed of it. And when you try to tell them, they argue with you. But, I think the deal is that we are kind of waking people up, because I have a lot more friends now than I used to. And nobody's calling me crazy anymore.
I know. We're getting together. We're the rainbow warriors coming back.
That's right. The warriors of love and the. We've started a freaking.
We started it up, man. It was love, not war, love.
That's right.
Love, not war.
Love will do it.
And we were very deviated, okay?
That's the deal, and love will do it, okay? Love will do it. So that's the deal. I'd rather be here in love, And people keep asking me, why don't you have a man in your life? And I'm like, because I'm in love with myself.
Right, right.
And how can I betray myself, until the right guy comes along?
Yeah.
Right?
That's the other trap, it's like the one. What does that mean, the one? What?
I don't know. I think
The one
we're
and
being
only.
energetically matched.
Or the only one. I'm the only one.
But I don't even know if that's a big, I don't even know, because the deal is that I'm meeting so many different kinds of people and men and women, and I'm falling in love with their souls and their brains, and you know what I mean? And that's a whole different deal. It's a whole different deal. And it's very, it's as close to completion I've ever been. I mean, I even told my ex-husband the other day, I'm like, I'm as whole as I've ever been, okay?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean...
I understand. Yeah.
So, I mean, what a wonderful place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
After everything I've lived through,
Yeah. I want to say something about the inner child, which is really important. It took me a lot of time to understand it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why the inner child, the thing is that we try to find the solutions outside, right? Mm-hmm. We are emotionally dissociated, so we want a husband, as you're saying, a husband to complete you,
Mm-hmm.
or a father, or a mother, or a, or friends, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you are exacerbating, or you're perpetrating that thing of the dissociated child to create, codependency, because the 4-year-old is going, it was not given to me at 4, I want it now.
Yeah.
So you're doing that dance. What happens is that, when you meet somebody and you go, oh my God, this person is going to do it for me. He's the one,
Right.
Then the reality is that the dissociated child needs to hear and to see the action from you, because she or he understands very well that no change is going to come unless you are the one stepping in, because you are the only one who can connect the dots. Therefore, it's going to act out more, with the couple or with whoever you thought was going to come and complete you.
Mm-hmm.
So It's really important to understand that you are the one who have to parent your child. That you become its parent. You parent your child, and once you parent your child, you can parent your own children, basically, because that's a really good exercise, because then your dissociated child is not going to come to claim revenge, with your children, to have them, they have to go through this because I went through that, for instance, which is another option. Right. So that is a really important thing. It took me a long time to understand how much the inner child and my own inner child was, literally going, it's you who I trust the most. You are the one who needs to come and step. It's not so much about the drama, but it's about, stepping in and changing the paradigm inside, the thinking.
Absolutely. And the deal is that once you start to parent your inner child, your 4-year-old, that whatever it was that kind of stunted you at that point, you start to realize that the competition is only with yourself. You have no competition with anyone outside you. You can live, you can because you're giving the child what you're giving yourself what you need. Which
Right.
means you're nourishing yourself, however you weren't nourished at that time. However
Yeah,
you
and
weren't.
it's not about competing to be the only one, but you're owning up your uniqueness and being the one and
Exactly.
only, which I love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people, some of my musician friends have called me a diva. They called me the diva that doesn't act like a diva. So that's kind of the deal, isn't it? Because I can be a diva and not act like one.
Right.
I can
You can
stay
do
out of
whatever you
ego.
want. You can mismatch whatever you want while you align it with your uniqueness.
That's right. And the deal is that if I'm out of ego, they're already noticing my brilliance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to a jam the other night and I did a couple of songs, and Linda says after I got down, she goes, "This woman has some huevos." She says, "I'm not saying cojones because she's got some big ass huevos," right? All I did was sing a couple of songs, right? But I don't, she knows me from other things, and she's like, yeah, because I don't, when I go to jams, if I'm going to be treated rude, I just remove myself, I don't play the ego game. If they're playing ego and they're playing with their 4-year-old, I mean, think about it. How many things are there to, nowadays for men and women to replace as something they missed when they were 4? We have pornography. We have we have we have we have gambling. We have just how many things, right? And I need to say that most of those things are addictive behavior. We even have video games. That's another addictive behavior. I mean, there's so many things. Food. Love is addictive, which is what we've been talking about since the beginning. And that's all about your 4-year-old going, hey, I didn't get it when I was 4. Maybe mommy couldn't provide it, or maybe it was there and you missed it and were gone that day. I don't know, but you got some of it, and your investment needs to be looked at, right? How much did you really get? How much did you get?
Right.
And what's of value, and what isn't of value, throw it away.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold on to that anymore. It just shows up in disease in your body, on your body, in your mind, and you're just letting the virus of the mind grow, essentially, if you don't deal with your 4-year-old. If you don't say, I love you.
Well, it was planted, we need to take care of it inside us so that we can change the world.
That's it, exactly. I mean, what do all the great philosophers say? They say the same thing in how many different ways? Mahatma Gandhi, he's got his sayings he says about the same thing. Every single one of them is saying the same thing. The way to change your surrounding, your community, is to change yourself. Be the change you want to see. That's the deal. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm being the change that I want to see. Yes, inside out, and it's showing on my body. I just met one of Steve's friends, and he says, "How old do you think my mom is?" And she says, "Well, she looks like 43, but I know that's not possible because you're like 30." Right?
I love it. I love it.
So when I told her, she's like, "No way," and I was like, "No, yeah, it's true." She's like, "Wow." I said, well, that's it. You get younger, right? That's the deal. You embrace your 4-year-old and you get younger. I mean,
that's
what a great thing.
True.
It's like the payoff in old age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is.
Actually, I'm going to be 66, man, in March.
I love it. You're going to be. Oh, that's cool. You're going to be free again.
I love the number 66.
I do. Oh. I know. 66. It's wonderful. It's absolutely
every
wonderful.
number has been great. I love all the numbers.
Yeah, me too. And I like being between them too.
So sing that thing for me. When I was 17, it was a very good year.
When I was 17. I don't know it. But
you remember that one? I love that song.
That one. You know what? I sing a
It
lot of
was a
17 songs.
very good year. I love it.
I sing Strawberry Wine, which is a 17 song. I sing Edge of 17.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I sing those songs. The 17 was a very
Wow.
important year for me, right? Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
incorporate the I did it my way in this program.
Oh yes. Okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get a. The
Just
thing about it.
there's a couple of paragraphs in the lyrics that are to die for. That
Yeah,
are,
they
you know,
are.
that
They are really
you
cool.
know.
I'm gonna have somebody record me while I'm singing that.
Oh, I
Um,
love that. Please, yeah, please
yeah.
do that with your voice. I want that.
Okay.
Yeah, that way we bring my data to the equation, to the
Okay, that
conversation.
would be
He's here
cool.
anyway, but that way,
Right.
you know, that's the gong, you know, it's
Right.
the bell.
Well, and, it's funny because I sing "Love Is a Battlefield" too by Pat Benatar, and it's really a powerful song about why do you treat me so bad? I mean, it's just love is a battlefield, and what I think the way she meant it was kind of a not a good thing, but the way I sing it, I turn it around because I like to talk in between when the music's playing sometimes about how we are warriors of love and that we need to stop fighting each other and warring and make love and not war. And I say that all through the song on the guitar parts, right? And people are like, wow. And they'll come up to me and say, I never thought about that song in those terms before, but it's really relevant. It's really relevant. So I mean, even cover songs can be turned on their head, and that's what I like to do. Turn them all around, make something different. Just simply by the way I sing it and the phrasing,
Yeah.
and it has a whole different meaning, and people are like, wow, and they get it. That's the deal. The frequency translates.
Yeah,
and,
totally. The vibration,
and
the
the
words and
words.
frequencies.
That's right. That's right.
The words, man. I mean, yeah.
Well, and that's like I said earlier. When people ask me questions, that's my opportunity to share, right? I mean that's powerful, and the words that I have been sharing just on my own in my normal conversations with people, co-creating and those kinds of words have prompted them to ask me more questions. So I think it's important that people realize that we need to talk to each other, not just text. We need to connect with each other, right? We need to listen, and if you're walking around and somebody looks like they're having a rotten day, man, just say hello, right? Reach out,
Yeah.
Say hello. How you doing? What's up? I mean, I can look at somebody and know they're in pain, and just say hello, smile. I mean that connection is powerful. It can turn somebody's day around, and that's love. That's love. That's loving myself. That's loving myself and loving others.
Excellent. So I think we are done for today, are we?
I think so. It's like
Are we done for today? We talked enough about love and fear.
And fear, yeah. I think so. I hope so people got the whole deal.
Don't hope, just trust.
Oh, okay. I'll trust that people got it. I'll trust that people got it. Because they seem to be getting it when I say it now. But you can't give them too much now. That's the deal. I mean, I started just looking through the door. I was just in the crack. What? Is it pizza? Go away. Yeah. So,
okay, my dear.
I love you, Luz.
I love you too. Thank you so much. This is great.
It is.
I'm loving the happy hour. We're going to.
Oh, me too. I'm happy. Are you happy?
Pretty good. Yeah.
I hope other people will be happy. I trust other people will be happy.
Well, I haven't been, inviting people until we use these ones as a promotion. So.
Absolutely. Well, the deal is that once you put them on the website, and I send people there. That's the deal.
Yeah, and it's great because we can. use them as promote the 7 pillars when when the recordings come out and they are ready. And it's going to be really soon, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll let everybody know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Okay,
Awesomeness.
thanks everybody. Thank you,
Thanks,
Laura.
everybody. And thank you, Luz, for everything.
You.
I love you too.
I'll be in touch this afternoon, okay? Take care.
Okay. All right, I will.
Happy 15.
15.
To 15.
15.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.